Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Wrenching with Grandpa. Probably the most ridiculous Mopar restoration channel on YouTube. Because in my quest to do my first Mopar restoration, I have spent a lot of money and learned a lot of things and am totally frustrated because it seems like if I get one thing done, six more appear that need to be done. But that's what it's all about in learning, experiencing, and having the love to do what we're doing. So let me just give you a quick update because honestly, folks, the weather and everything has not been overly conducive to be out here doing a lot of wrenching, as well as my work schedule. But with spring coming on, hopefully, that's going to change and we're going to start trying to bring more better, gooder content to the channel very soon. We do have a car show, local car show coming up in about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. The Monroe, Georgia, I think it's the 17th annual car show. We're going to be down there pounding the pavement, talking to folks, taking pictures, hoping to do some video showcases of some videos or some cars, as well as continuing with the Little Princess. And if you've been following along, I've been purchasing some parts, and that has been good and bad. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But let me just show you what we're doing. All right. I said we haven't gotten a whole lot of anything done out here recently just because it's been just crappy ass weather. But as some of you may have seen some of my posts, we have picked up, and don't pay any attention to the box because it's not the correct box, but it's a box. We have achieved, we have a Holley Street Dominator single plane 4-barrel intake for the 318. So we'll probably be looking to, say, well, if you keep it more towards the, original, you would go Edelbrock, since Edelbrock got bought out Carter, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? I like Holley, and why not put a Holley on a Holley intake? So we're looking into that, but we're not worried about that right now. This is parts for the future. And speaking about parts of the future, I'm sorry, the Borg killed the Starship this weekend with regard to my header intake purchased. That's part of the learning process. You spend money, you spend time with people, you buy parts, and then you find out that, well, what you bought is probably a damn good deal, but they don't work with your setup. Case in point, Hedman headers. These long throw coated stainless headers that I picked up at a very reasonable price from a new friend, that I was led to believe, not by the seller, but by the information I had, would work in our girl. These work on the 67 through 74 A body 273 to 340 engine. These things have got, they're not pristine, they're not brand new, but they're in great shape. honestly, in inspecting and doing a little cleanup work on them, I don't think these headers have ever been used other than some test running of an engine. There's no bluing. They're like brand flipping new. These are almost $800 headers. If you've got a project out there that's the later A body, 67 to 74, 270 to 340, PM me. I'll make you a hell of a deal on a set of, $700 to $900 headers. Can't use them, unfortunately, and I'm not going to butcher them trying to modify them. Apparently, what I need is going to be, $5 to $8 to $1,100 for headers. But you know what? I kind of got, all enthralled in buying my intake from the gentleman I got it from, and it's a wonderful intake, and that we will definitely be using. These were hanging on his wall. He told me they were for a 318, which I have, but I didn't take into account that they were bought to put on a 318 for a rebuild that he's doing on a 72 Dart, which they would work on. But midstream, they went to a 340 and an upgraded exhaust, so he didn't need these. So I was like, oh, wow, cool, headers. For a great price, I'll buy them, which I did. And I don't regret it because it's an investment, because they're worth more than I paid for them. And somebody out there, hopefully, will reach out and say, man, I could use those headers. And we can work out a deal and maybe establish a new relationship. So, if you know anybody that needs those, please PM me. Well, I'll make you a great deal. You will have to pay shipping. I'm not going to, but anyway, so that's kind of where we're at with that. And I've got a whole lot to do. I just wanted to give you all a quick update, let you know that I haven't fallen off the planet. I am not going to do a cold start on her tonight, just simply because y'all know what she sounds like. Here's the thing, and I'll see if I can't show you this a little bit better with this exhaust and why what I picked up won't work and my thoughts on it. All right. The big issue is with this being a 66 Barracuda, a single year body style, you have to have very year body style specific parts when it comes to exhaust and a lot of these other things. Where I ran into my problems with this setup was that to replace the original manifolds and with a header system, I ran into issues with the steering column, oil filters and starters and all that. So I can appreciate that. It is a learning experience. So after going through this, the headers I got will be wall art until I find somebody who needs and wants them at a reasonable price. And I'm not going to worry about the manifolds and going to headers. I'm going to concentrate on below the manifolds and the rest of the exhaust system. Truth be told, from some of the things I've been hearing, seeing, and reading, and listening, and watching, these manifolds will give me as much performance with regard to exhaust as headers. Now, if I were trying to build a race engine, high performance, blah, 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 no, that's not true. But for what I'm doing, yeah, they will. So my big concern right now is making sure that I've got nuts and bolts and attachments that we can take off and put on that aren't just totally destroyed by rust and degradation, so that we can go ahead and maybe pop these manifolds off, clean them up, put some new exhaust gaskets on them, maybe port them, clean them up. I mean, I understand the idea of porting intakes and exhaust ports. Clean them up, because most of them are all cast and they're rough, and you can get a little better airflow if they're kind of cleaned up. But getting down there and getting those flanges cleaned up so I can go ahead and get the 3 foot of straight pipe off of them, so that we can go ahead and start getting prepared to mock up the 2.5-inch stainless exhaust that we do have to work on this. So it's an ongoing process. Plus, I'm still looking around for the right carburetor to put on that new intake. I'm thinking Holley. We've got a new Holley Street Dominator 4-take. So I'm going to try to match it up with something, and maybe a Street Eliminator 600 CFM Holley 4-barrel. Again, I probably need to win the lottery or acquire that rich girlfriend. But that's where we're at on that. Now, guys, I appreciate all of you watching and following along, subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing. The algorithms are all very important with YouTube. But I've got a lot of plans for the future. We're going to continue to get the interior rebuilt, which right now basically is getting some kill mats in there and then putting the interior back in it, because she's ready to go in there. Finish up getting the hookup of the brake lines, that kind of stuff. With spring, warmer weather, longer hours of daylight, and hopefully a little regeneration in my old 67-year-old body, we can get this girl back on the road. Won't be in the next month, but hopefully we're going to get her in a show somewhere. If I have to take her down to the Sonic and hang out before the end of the year, this girl's going to be back on the road. And then we're going to rock and really roll. But I appreciate all of your support. Thank you for the 700 plus 1 subscribers. Guys, if you're doing this, you can appreciate where I'm at. If you're not and you're new to doing this kind of stuff, God love you. It is a process. It's a learning experience. It's a financial commitment, and it's a test of your ability and your tolerance to dealing with what the heck is that. Guys, have a great coming into spring week. Today's the 25th February, 2024. I've been here since 57. Hope to be here for a few more. Hope to have you and this girl running some badass fun. See you soon. Bye-bye.